The Undertaker, real name Mark Calloway, is one of the most respected and beloved pro wrestlers of all time. Most wrestling fans would like to think that they know everything about the dead man, but that hasn't stopped WWE from burying some things about The Undertaker's past. Here are 10 things WWE wants you to forget about The Undertaker. He was in WCW before WWE. If there's anyone who can truly be called a WWE guy, it's The Undertaker. Signing with the promotion in 1990, the dead man had stayed steadfast with the company for over 25 years. That isn't to say, though, that he was only a WWE guy. For a few years before his Survivor Series debut, Mark Calloway wrestled for WCW as a number of different characters, including Texas Red and Mean Mark Callis. He was then told by Ollie Anderson that he would never get over, and they released him. Good joke, Ollie. Good one. The angle with Muhammad Hassan. WWE used to not hold back on their stories, but this story with The Undertaker went too far. Feuding with Arab character Muhammad Hassan in 2005, Undertaker was assaulted on an episode of SmackDown by a group of masked men in camo pants who choked out the dead man. While this would have been controversial enough, the segment aired on the same day as the London terrorist bombings, heaping a massive amount of bad PR on WWE. Undertaker would defeat Hassan at the Great American Bash 2005, and the character was written off TV after being powerbombed through the stage. He missed a couple of WrestleManias. He may not have a crazy number of world title wins, but Undertaker's incredible 23-1 record at WrestleMania is the most impressive feat in wrestling history. That isn't to say that Undertaker has attended every WrestleMania since he debuted in 1990. He missed WrestleMania 10 because of a back injury, and missed WrestleMania 2000 due to a groin and pectoral injury. Undertaker would notably return months after WrestleMania 2000 under his American Badass persona, sparking a career resurgence for the dead man. His real-life beef with Shawn Michaels. They may have shared the ring for the greatest match in WrestleMania history, but Undertaker was not always fond of the Heartbreak Kid. During Shawn Michaels' days as a general scumbag in the late 1990s, Undertaker was one of the many in the WWE locker room who detested him. Jim Cornette had also told a story where Undertaker waited at gorilla position to see if HBK was going to drop his world championship to Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14. In Undertaker's exact words, if he didn't do it, it was going to be a long night for Shawn Michaels. He totally killed a guy on pay-per-view. Twice! We know the character of The Undertaker is supposed to be evil, but he straight up murdered two people on pay-per-view throughout his career. At WrestleMania 15, following his dull-as-dishwater match against Big Boss Man, Taker decided to up the ante by getting his Ministry of Darkness followers to hang the McMahon family enforcer from the top of the Hell in a Cell. Years later, Taker would encase his longtime manager Paul Bearer in concrete at the Great American Bash 2004. Undertaker is an evil, evil man. His first manager was Brother Love? If you were to equate the character of The Undertaker with a couple of emotions, you might choose rage, brooding, but certainly not love. But that's exactly what his first manager was full of. Yes, believe it or not, The Undertaker's very first manager was not the creepy, pasty white mortician known as Paul Bearer, but the creepy orange pastor known as Brother Love. He debuted alongside The Undertaker at Survivor Series 1990, but quickly sold off his contract to Paul Bearer, and the rest is history. He had a couple of awful nicknames. Undertaker has to be up there with Apollo Creed for a number of nicknames, but not all of them were great. On screen, the worst of his nicknames would have to be Booger Red. In his American Badass persona, Jim Ross tried this one out and it absolutely failed. Because of his red hair, Paul Bearer also gave him a nickname backstage. Wendy. Only Paul Bearer could get away with calling Undertaker the name of a fast food mascot. His neck tattoo. A lot of WWE fans know that Mark Calloway is currently married to former WWE diva Michelle McCool, but he was also married to a woman named Sarah who made a few on-screen appearances in WWE, even defeating DDP on one occasion. Taker made sure everyone knew about his devotion by getting her name tattooed on his throat. However, once they divorced in 2007, Undertaker would have his tattoo removed to avoid the obvious embarrassment. His original name is fascinating. Here's an interesting trivia question. What was Mark Calloway's original name in WWE? If you said Undertaker, you would only get partial marks. While he officially debuted on screen at Survivor Series 1990, Calloway made a couple of appearances to crowds prior to that pay-per-view, wrestling under a slightly different name, Kane the Undertaker. That's right, Calloway's original ring name was used years later as the name for his burn victim brother, Kane. He killed his parents. While the original Kane and Undertaker storyline might be looked fondly upon with nostalgia, the reality is that it was very confusing and convoluted. One of the most confusing parts was who burned down the funeral home where Kane and Taker grew up in. Surely it had to be the heel Kane, right? Well, it initially seemed like the Big Red Machine did in fact do the deed. But one heel turn from Undertaker later, and it was revealed that the dead man did indeed kill his parents and tried to kill his half-brother Kane. Kinda makes you feel dirty for cheering for him, doesn't it?